This is Star Wars the deck building game by Fantasy Flight Games, designed by Caleb Grace. I am stoked for this game. There's just one problem. It's not solo. Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today we're going to be taking a look at Star Wars the deck building game. This is by Fantasy Flight Games and designed by Caleb Grace, who has designed lots of things for Fantasy Flight. The most recent one that most people will know about is Marvel Champions. So the man knows his card games. I picked this up purely for two reasons. It's a deck builder and it's Star Wars, both of which I love. But as you can clearly see on the box here, it is meant to be a head-to-head game, and that makes sense. What they're really playing off of here is the kind of back and forth tug of war between the Empire and the Rebellion. And so one of you plays the Empire, one of you plays the Rebellion, and you can only purchase cards from the Galaxy row that are either neutral or align with your faction. So there could be, Darth Vader in the row, but if you're playing as the Rebellions, you can't buy Darth Vader to add to your deck. But what you can do is try and defeat him in the Galaxy row before he can ever make it into the hand of your opponent. All of that being said, after we take a look at this, I am going to do my best to come up with a solo variant for this game. I have a couple ideas in mind, so I'm going to be doing a little bit of playtesting off camera, and hopefully within a short period of time I'm going to come back with a way to solo Star Wars the deck building game, because honestly it's a travesty that there is not a Han Solo mode in this game. So I digress. Before we move on, a lot of people, and I didn't realize until I went to pick up the game, that GameGenic has produced sleeves for the game. So GameGenic essentially replaced Fantasy Flight, Fantasy Flight stopped production of their in-house sleeves. And so everything they do, GameGenic does the art sleeves, custom art sleeves for Marvel Champions. Now, I'm not, I would not call their art sleeves the best. They have this kind of weird tactile feel to the back of them. It enables them to have a really nice image, and obviously it's just a carbon copy of what's on the front of the box there. But here you can see what they are. Also, they tend to run a tad large, and so there's a big black border surrounding all your cards. I don't know what better color to put. I really don't like silver, but anyways, at the end of this video, I will throw some of the cards into a few of these sleeves so you guys can see what it looks like with the card sleeves. But there you go. Those do exist. So if you're a fan of full art sleeves, you can go out and pick them up. So this is a much smaller box than I was expecting. I was expecting something more along the lines of a Marvel Champions size box, because I'm assuming that Fantasy Flight already has some expansions ready to go for this game. But interestingly enough, they are featuring their unfinished business expansion for Outer Rim on the back. But okay, I guess it's Star Wars. So I've actually read through this rule book online. You can find it on Fantasy Flight's website. They do a great job of putting all their resources like that there. So if you want to check it out and read through it, it's very straightforward. This is a pretty standard deck builder. There's nothing that's going to shock you or be overly complicated. If you're trying to introduce someone to the deck building genre with this game, you could easily do it. So I'm going to set the rule book aside. It's a pretty standard rule book, more like a kind of novel paperback size book. All right, so we have here, interesting. I thought this was going to be a board. This appears to be a set of cards. Hold on here. It says unfold the balance of the force track and place it next to the outer rim pilot stack. Is this, maybe this is a set of cards. So, if I can figure out how to get into this, this balance of the force here plays a big part in your game. I guess we're going to need to take a knife to it. So, as you play cards, you're going to have this tug of war effect on the force. And it can be sitting neutral, but it's not going to sit there for very long. But, okay, so this does unfold. This feels like the kind of Ant-Man card. If you're familiar with the Marvel Champions products, it's, you know, this could be better. This is a little depressing. I feel like they easily could have you know, created something out of cardboard that easily would have fit in this box. But here is the force board that appears to just be exactly the same on both sides. So here is neutral. If the force is with you, it's either on your side or, you know, your opponent's side, and certain cards will play off of the fact that the force is with you or it's not. And if the force is all the way with you, you actually get an additional resource, aka, you know, kind of in-game credit purchasing power for that round. So there we go. What else we got in this stack of cards here? We got some reference cards. This is a 2-player game, so we only need 2. And then there is the stack of the Outer Rim Pilots. These are going to be your lone static item that's always available to purchase. You'll notice that these guys are gray because they are neutral. So an Outer Rim Pilot can be purchased and then used in either the Empire deck or the Rebellion deck. And they simply get you 2. They're going to get you 2 resources, no fight. But you can exile them, which means you remove them from your hand to get a force. So to move the force token down a little bit towards you. So that's them. Let's look at what else we have in here, which shouldn't be much. So yeah, there's not a whole lot going on here. This is definitely an introductory game. I will be shocked if they don't come up with expansions for the game. What's interesting is that these cards will not fit in these wells. So obviously, and they don't really fit here either. Sleeved cards, especially sleeved, are only going to fit right here. So I'm curious as to what they have planned for these 2 wells right here. You don't just create an insert like this without something planned in the future. But here we have your basic cubes that are going to, as you play down your cards, you don't have to use these, but it is a nice touch, especially for people who are new to the deck building genre. Attack power, you do need to keep track of attack power on your bases. We'll talk about those in a minute because they carry over from turn to turn. But the yellow ones are simply the resources you gain to purchase cards from the Galaxy row on your turn. Once your turn's over, they go back to the supply. So that's why there's more purple ones than yellow ones. And then the lone white one here is to track back and forth on the force pad here. So there we go. All right, let's find some stuff here. I am gonna guess. Now that's interesting. The card backs are different. So here's the Empire starter deck and here's the Rebel starter deck. Okay, those are set there like that. Now, the rest of the cards have Star Wars on the back, which is very different from this, unless this is some kind of reference card. Or this might be the bases. Let's just start tearing into these and find out. Okay, that makes more sense. So, the backs of all the cards are this blue Star Wars back, which, for anybody that's familiar with a deck builder, knows that all the cards need to look the same on the back, or else you'll know exactly what's coming when you draw your next card. But these, that look like this on the back, are your bases. So this is one of the really coolest parts about the game, in my opinion, is your base. So you're going to play to a certain number of bases, and once your opponent or you have defeated that number, you've won the game. The base acts as a catch-up mechanic. So when your base is defeated, it's taken out of play, and then you, depending on whether it's, you know, like your introductory game or whether you set like a certain number of bases you can have in hand, you basically get to pick what your next base is going to be. And the action that your base has comes into play as soon as you play it down, which is going to be at the start of your next turn. So you can determine what base is going to give you the most benefit currently, and a lot of times that's going to turn the tides in battle. Some of them may draw the force all the way back to your side, or allow you to draw 2 cards, or get a card for free from the galaxy row. So if, say, Darth Vader came out early and he's just been sitting there and you haven't been able to afford him, and they take down your base first, you can play Corellia here. When you reveal Corellia, purchase an Empire or neutral card from the Galaxy row for free and add it to your hand. So all of a sudden now you technically lost the first base, but now you have an amazing card in your hand for free. And all of these do something different. So your strategy in how you bring out your bases can play a lot into the game here. So your starter decks here are basically going to be some standard troopers, some standard lots of shuttles, which just give you purchasing power. Troopers give you attack power, and then your one lone inquisitor here, who is going to give you, it's kind of like a wild card. You know, you have to choose one attack power, one purchasing power, or one force, and that's just moving the force in your direction. So very basic cards to start off with, obviously, plus your base. Let's take a look at the Rebel starter cards here. Alright, so let's take a look at the bases first here. We have Dantooine, Moncala, Tatooine, Sullust as a Rebel base. That's interesting. I would have thought it would have been with the Empire. Yavin 4, Hoth, Bespin, Dagobah, Alderaan, of course, and Jeddah. Let's just quickly look back. I didn't go through all of the Empire ones. Lothal, Corellia, Coruscant, of course, the Death Star, of course, Endor, okay, Mustafar. See, I would have switched Endor and Sullust. Mustafar, Kafrene, Ord Mantell, Kessel, okay, and Rhodia. Okay, so I mean, all of these obviously are, you know, very big in the Star Wars universe. I don't know whether or not I would put them with certain things, but here we go. So here's our 2 Rebel troopers instead of stormtroopers, our Alliance shuttle, and the Temple Guardian is the wild card. So again, what the cards do is exactly the same. The names and the pictures are different. And then we have here, I don't know how many. What do we got here? Let's see, 10 starter cards each, and then 9 Galaxy cards and 10 Outer Rim cards. So in total, the cards, about 100 cards, which isn't much here. So let's take a look at these cards. All right, so here we have, you can tell these are basics or neutral cards because they're gray, whereas an Empire card is blue right here and a Rebellion card is red. Also, a lot of the iconography and pictures you're going to notice are pulled from the Star Wars Destiny game, which they kind of killed off a couple years ago. I don't know if that's why they did this or did that, but so here are some Jawas are interesting because you could exile a card, but they allow you to bring a card back. You have to exile them, but then you can bring something back from the Galaxy discard pile. So not from exile, but from the discard pile. So, which is interesting. Bosk. So Bosk could go either way. Fang Fighter here. Twi'lek Smuggler. So here is our first example of a capital ship. This one could go either way. But a capital ship, you'll notice, is turned sideways. That's because it is going to sit out and protect your base. So you're going to have to purchase the capital ship first. So you would have to pay 3 to add this to your discard pile. It's got to shuffle back through your deck. But very similar to vehicles in G.I. Joe, the deck building game, which I've covered on the channel, and we'll be covering some more very soon. Spoiler alert. The capital ship goes out into onto your play area and stays there and protects your base. And so your opponent has to damage your capital ship, get it out of the way before they can then continue damaging the base. And then I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure this then goes back into your discard pile. It shuffles back around and can come back up again. So that's why you'll notice the capital ships are turned on a sideways horizontal line. So what else? We got Dengar here, Quarren Mercenary, the Hawk 290, I love it. Blockade Runner, I would have put the Blockade Runner as IG-88, so there's a lot of scum and villainy already in here. Nebulon B Frigate, Lando Calrissian, okay, I can see that. I truly can see that. And Jabba the Hutt. Alright, so that was all the neutrals. Jabba the Hutt here, he's going to be like the most expensive neutral. He's giving you a lot of stuff here. You could exile 1 card from your hand to draw 2 cards instead if the Force is with you. So there's an example of if the Force is with you, what Jabba can do for you. Now we've got our Rebels. So these are cards that only the Rebel can purchase. You'll also notice that now we have a reward down here that's turned upside down. So none of these cards had a reward on them because they're neutral cards. Nobody's going to be attacking them in the Galaxy row. But cards specific to the alternate faction when you're playing, so if I was the Rebellion, this card would be turned to face me, and this reward would be facing my opponent. Neutral cards are going to sit in the row like this, so we can all kind of cock our head and look at them, and then Empire cards would be turned like this, so that I could read the reward and they can read the card. Because you can bounty hunt, it's called 2 different things. I think it's called sabotage if you're the Rebellion, or bounty hunt if you're the Empire. But you can actually spend your attack and take cards out of the Galaxy row before your opponent even has a chance to purchase them, which is a really unique mechanic I personally have never seen before in a deck building game, but is very thematic, especially with this head-to-head game. So you're going to see a reward now on the bottom of most of these cards, and that means that the opponent can take them out by spending 1 attack power here to say get rid of the Y-Wing. So we've got our Y-Wing, Snow Speeders, Duros Spies. Now we've got some more capital ships here, and they're going to give us a little bit more. So choose repair 2 damage from your base or gain 1. So this is not only is it sitting out there and it's going to soak up 2 damage, but if it isn't damaged, it's going to give you some stuff each turn. And I believe some of these even, there's the X-Wing. I love this image. I believe some of the capital ships can either also damage bases themselves, but they cannot damage individual cards in the Galaxy row. So let's take a final look at these cards, and then we'll very quickly throw 1 or 2 of them into a sleeve and see how they look. So obviously with only 100 cards, not even 90 unique cards, and so much in the Star Wars universe, there is plenty of room for expansion here. And this is a deck builder. This is not a living card game, and this is not a collectible card game. So you're always going to know exactly what you get, and it's going to come in the form of expansions. So, Chewbacca, Jyn Erso, and Hammerhead Corvette. I'm just trying to get to some of the bigger ones. Here's Han Solo, Cassian Andor, the B-Wings, and nope, not Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker. I was like, Luke Skywalker's got to be the big one. Look at that, 6 attack power all himself. If the Force is with you, destroy a capital ship your opponent has in play. He himself takes out a whole capital ship if the Force is with him. Alright, for the Empire, we've got some TIE fighters, Admiral Piet. I'm just now noticing a lot of these have little flavor text on the bottom, which is amazing. Let's see what some of these other guys have as far as flavor text is concerned. Moff Jerjerrod doesn't have any. General Veers, target maximum firepower. Nice. We stand here amidst my achievement, not yours. He's no good to me, dead. Boba Fett is not neutral. Imperial Carrier, Star Destroyer, and of course Darth Vader. You don't know the power of the dark side. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was a very detailed look at Star Wars, the deck building game. So I'm going to take 2 of my Outer Rim pilots here and just throw them into some sleeves so you can see how they fit and how they look once they're sleeved. So here we go. The black, they're not oversized, so that's good. And here's, kind of what they look like. It's interesting, the majority of the time your deck is going to be like this. You're going to want to put your discard pile like this. Not 100% sure why they chose to make the artwork like this. That's a minor gripe. I do like the artwork. I do like that shot. But, again, I'm going to want to put my discard pile down like this. But I'm always going to want to look at it like this. So, there you go. But again, it's very matte on the back. I don't know, almost too matte. Almost too slippery. But they appear to shuffle well. So, yeah. Up next, we'll be doing a how to play video for this. How to play video can be watched whether you're planning on playing my upcoming solo variant or playing 2-player. We're going to learn how to play this game properly. So the how to play video will cover everything you need to know. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comments section below. And yeah, those don't quite fit in there. I'm now testing out this. So this right now is the only place to fit these cards. Something is going to be going down here. I'm very curious as to what is going to be there. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.